to support our people who got killed. You see, Muslims should express their grief in a similar manner, where, you know, in France it took place with the Jewish Charlie. We need to express our grief in the same way, actually.
D'accord. Je suis un soldat égyptien. Je suis Shadi. Je suis Razan, and je suis Yusr. And to the Gulf today, where we continue to read, and this time the headlines are coming from Yemen. Yemen collapsing before our eyes. Ban Ki-moon. The guy is all the time worried about what's going on. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said on Thursday that Yemen is disintegrating after the country slipped further into chaos as the Houthi militia consolidated their grip on power. Yemen is collapsing before our eyes. We cannot stand by and watch. Wow. Ban told the UN Security Council, and he added, we must do everything possible to help Yemen step back from the brink and get the political process back on track. I think you noticed my facial expression, so I don't need to ask.
Well, I think the presence of Iran in this particular area is causing a headache to a lot of people, including our country. You know, Saudi is watching what's going on in Yemen very closely. We are doing the same thing. We need to...
Okay, let's analyze this story a little bit. If this targeting Saudi Arabia, as of course Yemen is bordering Saudi Arabia or another, so this is a way to infiltrate into the Saudi territories and do whatever they like, or this is the Strait of Bab el-Mandab, or this is a reaction to the huge mega project of us, the new Suez Canal. Is it to drag once again Egypt into another battle, so to exhaust our army somehow in Libya and somehow in Yemen, and then not to focus on our internal arena or domestic situation, and to move or to have this chaotic way or troublesome way of thinking, and then by the end of the story ending Egypt weakened, or what?
Of course, we are subject to a lot of pressures and a lot of plots. You know, the plot theory is applicable in our case.
And very much complicated.
Do you realize that the Houthis are being trained in Eritrea? And they just are carried all the way by boat across the Red Sea to Sada in Yemen. And so we need to do something about it. We need to know what's going on and which direction things are going, because there is no presence for the government in Yemen no longer. So it's a country without a, you know, it's like a vehicle with no driver. So we expect them to hit a wall in the end of the day. We need to do something as an Arab League. If the Arab League this is the only solution, logic solution, that the Arab League should do something right now, or it will be too late.
Again, sir, should do something on the ground.
On the ground.
Or with people negotiating around the table.
Well, I think there should be a peacekeeping thing. I think the Arab League should get involved in trying to get people together, and I think it's going to be very late, because 6 states or governors in Yemen already declared that they are independent. So we need to do something, or it will be very late.
Were you with or against the resignation of Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi and his Prime Minister Bahah?
The man did not have any other choice, because he resigned under a gunpoint, actually. Either he will resign or get killed, because there was no army to protect him. So there was no point in him. Just the former president, strange enough, is with the Houthis. Ali Saleh.
This is what I call the politics game, which I will never be able to understand. But if this is Ali Abdullah Saleh or the Iranians behind the Houthis or the
It's a combination.
Inciting violence in general, even to take the country to the brink of civil war, is it once again infiltrating into the Saudi territories? Is it
of course
the control of Bab al-Mandab, I mean the Strait of Bab al-Mandab? You know, these are the games of politics, which I will never understand.
You see,
this is exactly the same, by the way, in Syria, with, I think for the first time, the UN envoy is saying so. The Daily Star is saying that al-Assad is part of any solution in Syria, quoting the UN envoy. Any peaceful solution to the fighting in Syria must involve President Bashar al-Assad, and these were the quotes by Staffan de Mistura, the United Nations envoy. He said this exactly. President al-Assad is part of the solution. I would continue to have very important discussions with him, noting that the only solution is a political one. The group is a monster. He is now describing Daesh, waiting for this conflict to take part in order to be able to take advantage. Yet, Austrian foreign minister said something very much different. Kurz agreed the fight against Daesh can be necessary to fight on the same side, but he insisted that al-Assad will never be a friend or even a partner. Contradictory, or it's only me?
It's meant actually to be contradictory, because you know, the fight in Syria is not over yet, and they want to prolong this fight. I think the whole idea is the Kurds will have a state in the end of the day. This annexation will take a huge part of Syria out of Syria. I think also the Alawis, whom are represented by Assad, will take Laziqiya and this particular area. The Druze in the south, you know, it's sad, but Syria is moving toward right. It will be divided very soon with the umbrella of the United Nations.
But don't you think that this is very strange to listen to such statements by the UN envoy, stressing the fact that al-Assad is there, I mean, in the...
Is there to stay, yes.
Yeah, and I mean, we have been here even in this program maybe 2 years ago or something, saying if al-Assad disappears, I think the case is going to be worse. This was my question by then, worse or better. And you told me, no, the disappearance of al-Assad is not going to solve the problem.
Right, definitely.
So now, it's now, after 2 years, the international community
is admitting...
To admit so, or to announce so?
The Assad family represents a big fragment of the population in Syria, and I would love to see an election today in Syria. You'd be surprised that Assad might be elected one more time.
By whom?
By the Syrians.
Okay, which Syrians? North or South? Alawites or Shiites?
Everybody, I mean the original country.
The sectarian strife there, I don't think that is going to allow fair and transparent elections to take place in the first place, sir.
Well, this is a different story.
From the Khalij time, we continue to read Kuwait. Kuwait calls for permanent Arab seat in UN Security Council. The state of Kuwait has reaffirmed its stance and that of the Arab group in support to the UN Security Council reform process and called for a permanent Arab seat in the Council. Sir, before going into the rest of this news in particular, whenever we are talking about the UN Security Council, whenever we are talking about the United Nations in general, and whenever we are witnessing the dwindling, and I should say that, the dwindling role played by this very prestigious international community, yes. I think, why should we be that keen to have a permanent seat in this organization?
First of all, it's a long time right now to claim this seat. The Arabs are in their worst political conditions. I mean, we are under pressure. But when you look at it, this is the only international club that everybody meets, actually. This is the only organization that everybody gets together. And if we have any other alternative, yes, we will claim it, but the Security Council is the place where you enjoy a prestigious...
Let me put my question in other words. Do you think that if we do have a permanent seat in the Security Council, this is going to change anything regionally?
No, I don't think that this will affect anything, but it will be a sort of a recognition of our existence that we are fighting to keep right now. I mean, we are being, wiped out. I mean, a lot of areas in Syria and Iraq, you don't have the original people anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually fled away from the right. Yeah. So I think this is the wrong time to claim the seat. We're fighting for survival and existence. Let's wait till the end of this fight and see if there's anybody left to claim that seat, actually. It will take some time.
Tomorrow is another day. We had a lot of other headlines, but unfortunately we're running out of time. The Washington Post was talking about the Ukraine ceasefire, which does little to restrain Mr. Putin. Putin is also a headache. I mean, for the United States.
Yes, definitely.
Tomorrow is another day. And thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your input.
Thank you very much.
Dear viewers, by this we come to the end of this episode of The World Today. Till we meet again, same time on Nile TV International. Many thanks for watching. This is Nermeen Abdurrahman.